in Napa and Sonoma counties. At least 5 fires that broke out at around 10 p.m. and have forced hundreds of people to evacuate. Those evacuations have been continuing frantically throughout the night. Wilson, we know you headed up there a couple of hours ago. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Well, let me start by telling you exactly where I am, and that is right at the Sonoma Napa border on Highway 12. She just mentioned that the road is closed. I, that's about where I am in that area. I got up here maybe around 12:45 in the morning. There was a fire. I was trying to get over towards the larger fire, which is obviously north and a little east of where I am. But as I'm coming across Highway 12, you could see this fire coming south, and you could tell nothing was going to stop it.
I think I was eating breakfast when I first heard about it. My housemates came downstairs for the first time that day and asked me if my family was doing alright. I didn't know what they were talking about. It would take me a few stressful hours before I could get anyone I knew to contact me. They were safe, but the fires were getting worse. Home was surrounded on 3 sides, and fires compounded into one another and ash rained. I sat in Santa Cruz, underaware and over-anxious, calling, texting, reading, to see who and what was still safe. The days blurred together in my memory. In the end, we personally lost very little. Frightened to death, but intact. We were among the lucky, however. 84,000 structures burned, $1 billion in damage, and 42 lives lost as a result of the fire. Friends mourned many of those who I didn't know personally, but the loss devastated the valley as a whole. For me, it changed the way I look at my home. It's been almost exactly 6 months since the fires began, and while I've been home multiple times since, I decided to go back with the idea of purposely exploring pieces of my home, pieces that have shaped me in a way, or are important to the culture of Napa as a whole, some of which still bear the scars of the fire. The fire closest to home was known as the Atlas Fire. My home, while fairly in the center of the valley, was only 10 minutes driving from the fire. You can still see the scorched trees that grow red leaves from Oak Knoll, 5 minutes up the road. These scorched hills lined my dad's route to work every day along the Silverado Trail. The fire came dangerously close to leaping over the road and spreading further into the center of the valley. One day he left work early because of a power outage, and the fire had moved so close to the road that he and other bystanders pulled over into a parking lot to look at it in awe. The fire moved quickly, consuming land moment by moment, spewing smoke and painting the sun a sickly red. It wasn't even noon yet. The road where he and others stood watching is called Yountville Crossroads. For most in Napa, myself included, the name stirs up thoughts of pulling into a small reserved parking lot, walking a short distance to the best spot along the Napa River, which in the summer months often felt more like a large creek, and finding a rope swing and swinging yourself into the water with friends. The hills and grass hardly show what happened now. The Atlas Fire was spread along the entire east side of the Napa Valley. Along its southernmost reach, the fire devastated another ecological park, one I knew very well. Skyline Park was the go-to for hiking, mountain biking, and running for many locals in Napa. For myself, I became acquainted with it from an early age, first going there on an elementary school hiking field trip. It also became a regular and grueling conditioning location while I was on my high school's cross-country team. In fact, my very first practice was held there the summer before freshman year. I nearly quit the same day, but somehow ended up sticking it out for 3 more years. Skyline was used as backburn by the fire department to prevent the fire from entering residential areas and damaging or destroying homes. However, it effectively burned 80% of the upper region of the park. But with concerted efforts by locals, the park has bounced back, and now that it's reopened, it sees just as many visitors as it once did. Napa is moving swiftly along the route to recovery, but the fires in October leave me with a lasting impact, an interesting and bittersweet result of tragedy. As I went home and explored this time, I thought about Napa in a different light. I thought about the pieces that I came dangerously close to losing. The tree-lined road on Oak Knoll that me and my dad would drive down on the days he took me to work as a kid. My neighborhood that me and my cousins would ride bikes around, exploring, and going a little farther out each time. My high school, where I made many friends who ended up feeling more like family. And every piece culminating in what I now think of when I imagine home.